never thought of any man as much of a man.
What is that supposed to mean?
You think I'd ever touch you ever again after what you did?
You think I'd ever let you touch me again?
Look, it cost me less than the price of a cup of coffee to find a more expensive tramp than you. So just shut the hell up and I'll deal with you later.
Quit pretending, Eddie. Don't think the cops aren't on to you by now.
Cops aren't on.
For a podcast, I have to always take myself, no matter who the guest is, they know more than me about what they do.
Stupid and ridiculous. Shut your slutty little mouth. And whore.
I think you're such a big
I
wheeler
said,
dealer and you're a nobody.
Shut up. What do you know?
So in order for me to have enough knowledge and experience to even ask them one question, I have to put myself through experiences that are out of my comfort zone. Maybe I can guess what an audition's like, but I've never been in one, so I'm gonna go to one so I can give John McGinley on my podcast Friday a good experience.
No, I just wanted to shut her up. How would I know the cops were here? And that's kind of like my last thing.
Okay.
So how was that overall?
People all my life have been telling me I'm smart.
You're kind of an enigma.
I got a lot more successful when I realized, you know what? I am really, really stupid about just about everything. It's like I would think I need 100 million. So how do you get 100 million from 10? You have to invest. I think I know about business. I think I know about investing. If I were to just act on that assumption, I would be the worst investor in the world. Everybody thinks they know things, but they don't really know anything. When I was growing up, my family went bankrupt. It was this huge trauma. They lost a home. My dad had a nervous breakdown, was struggling, and I was always afraid I was gonna repeat my dad's experience. He started a business, he had some money, but then he lost every single dime of it, and he was just crying all the time because he felt he was too old, he wouldn't have a chance, and he wasn't too old, and he had many chances, but it's a mindset thing, he never believed it, because he always thought he was so smart. Fast forward 20 years later, I sold a business in New York City, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so smart that I even made money in New York City. You know, it's the Frank Sinatra song, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So I assumed if I'm smart in this one area, then I must be a genius in everything else. I didn't know anything at all about stocks or the market or money management or risk or any of the micro skills needed for investing. I had no mentor. I didn't think I needed one. Market cap, eventually Facebook's gonna hit that if it were to. I thought I'm gonna be the smartest investor in the world because I'm already the smartest person in the world. I had money, but I thought I was poor, and I thought I was the smartest person in the world, the worst combination of all. So that's the formula for losing all of your money. I had built and sold a business I had been proud of, and literally in one summer, I was like a drunken rock star on steroids. Like I went from $15 million in the bank to $46 in my ATM machine. Like I had nothing left. And so I lost all of my money. I bought the biggest house in the world. I lost that. I had 2 babies. I had $0 to pay for diapers for them after having millions and millions of dollars because I thought I was smart. And my only flaw was not that I made bad investments. My flaw was that I thought I was smarter than everyone else. That's the only flaw. And I did get depressed just like my dad, and I got divorced just like my dad. Everything repeated. I didn't die like him, so that hasn't repeated. Knock on wood. Often I try something and I crash and burn, and then I have to
reinvent myself. It's not like, oh, I think I'm done with this and now I'm going to reinvent. It's usually much more brutal than that. Everybody thinks they know things, but they don't really know anything. I know many people who have gone to law school, became lawyers, studied the law, and I remember when I was in the hedge fund business, I would often go to law firms as consultants about the law because I had experienced certain things in business where I had to often, understand all the laws involved and all the regulations. I would be able to teach lawyers, how to understand the different nuances in the laws that they were dealing with. It's far better to have more questions than answers. Like a sense of awe and curiosity will drive people forward. If you're just sitting there with all the answers, how are you going to improve? You're just sort of lecturing to the world and you may or may not know what you're talking about. If you argue with your wife and win in an argument with your wife, you win 1,000 times in a row, chances are you're not married by the end of that 1,000th argument. There's no point even in being right so many times. I don't even know what will happen in the stock market tomorrow, and yet so many people are on CNBC every day predicting X, predicting the opposite of X, predicting this stock will go up, predicting no, that stock will go down, but this stock will go up, just arguing with each other and getting conflicting sides. And that's almost all of the news and most of entertainment, most of TV, television, and most of newspapers. I mean, you take politics. Right now, we live in such a polarized country. Half the country believes one thing, half the country believes the other, and this side have unfriended each other on Facebook. So, are they all right? Is exactly 50% right and 50% wrong? Who knows? Yeah. This is how I'm preparing for that podcast with John McGinley. So every preparation is different, but you have to over-prepare. Months ago, I said to Steve, what can I audition for? And so he started talking to casting directors. It's not that easy to find something to audition for. You have to be a professional, and I'm not a professional. Honestly, I want to be the best for John McGinley.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm just worried I'll choke a little in the thing, so I just want to get it as down.
Yeah, you can.
So Steve found someone, a play that's been around since 1963, so it's not just an off-Broadway student production. There's a real casting director. He found something I could really try out for, because John McGinley and I spent a lot of time talking about auditioning in the last podcast. Now I could bring in experience. That's how I prepare. What are you talking about? Are you admitting it? You think this makes you innocent because you're trying to call out me? I'll have none of this. You have to just shut up. You think, oh, this is a great plan. I'm gonna wait for the cops to arrive, then I'm gonna go up and murder someone upstairs, and then come down right away to be arrested. Who would make a plan like that? This is ridiculous. That's like imagination. This is like the Brett Kavanaugh hearings.
You should have stopped on me a long time ago.
Oh, this is what are you even talking about?
It took me a while to figure out what you really are.
Oh, what I really am. What am I really? Let's listen to this. What am I really, Barbara? Tell me.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Stupid and ridiculous.
I don't think so. I think you're just projecting your own fears onto me.
Nice, Jay. I would say that the only thing that you would work on this particular play is that most of the improv is done in the rehearsal process, and even in the audition process, so that by the time we get onto the stage, these would all be a lot tighter.
Welcome to company. James.
That was so much fun. It was definitely an interesting experience. I learned just a huge amount about the entire process of auditioning. You're not really used to being somebody else in life. There's not that many situations that call for it. Taking the stance
I know nothing allows me to open the door to everything I can learn as much as possible. Even when we're trained in something, even when we go to graduate school in something, even when we've been mentored and have 20 years of experience, we really don't know anything. Super excited to have Howard Marks, head of Oak Tree Capital Management. It's got $120 billion in assets. Just out is your new book, Mastering the Market Cycle, Getting the Odds on Your Side. I have to mention, you're number 374 on the Forbes Most Wealthy list, worth about $1.91 billion. Welcome to the show, Howard Marks.
Thank you very much.
Do you hate that actually being introduced as like a billionaire?
I do, you know.
I apologize.
Well, that's okay. I mean, on the one hand, people want to hear it and it gets you more attention. But on the other hand, they don't say, here's Howard Marks, right-hander,
right.
Or Howard Marks, father of two.
Howard Marks today is a billionaire investor. I've been in the investing space, but I still watch every interview. He thinks about things in a different way than I do, and he's a multi-billionaire. I can't assume, oh, just because I've done investments for 20 years, I have anything at all to say to him. I have to really figure out what I don't know that he's saying differently, and why is he saying it differently than how I would think about it. I can't just assume, well, he's wrong and I'm right. I have to question. And all of this is a way of saying questions are so much more important than answers. The best way to have success is to have more questions than answers. To always be asking, what if X? Where X is something that doesn't really exist in the world, or a concept that hasn't been thought about. You could only do that by acknowledging we really don't know anything. The human brain is not made to memorize facts over long periods of time. You know, we're made to ask questions and then experiment and discover. But, you know, using this what if kind of strategy, in my moments of acknowledging that I'm stupid, has really helped me. There's that expression, always stand next to the smartest person in the room. I make sure I'm the stupidest person in the room, so that way it doesn't matter who I stand next to, I'm gonna benefit.
This is Union Square. We're going to meet Scott Cohen, who's a great hedge fund manager. Back in 2004, 2003, I invested in his hedge fund, quite a bit of money, with my fund of hedge funds. But after that, we became friends. But we do a lot of deals together. We go over many different businesses together, and we've made a lot of money together. Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, everybody?
Good.
My partner, Rich Abbey, said, I've got a crazy guy that you're not going to believe wants to invest in our fund. That was the first time I met him. And I mean, he's super sharp on the business front, too. I mean, you hear his questions, you see how he approaches things. He's got a real knack for being able to ask the right questions and having a good feel for what's going to work and what's not going to work.
All of my angel investments now and all of my public investments, I always make sure there's someone smarter than me who's in there. In general, that's a rule I follow. What was the major problem in law enforcement, let's say 2 years ago? And it still is a problem, but it was in the newspapers almost every single day. Cops would shoot people who seemed to be coming at them, particularly at night. What was happening is that there was no non-lethal weapon. At night, if someone mentally ill is coming at you with a knife, you don't know what to do, or something that looks like a knife or a gun or a water gun, you don't know what to do. You have a family, you could get killed too. A police officer has a dangerous job. Everybody out at that time running towards each other is doing something dangerous. And so this is not to say anybody's right or anybody's wrong, it's just a scary situation and there was no solution. What if you can make a weapon that could detain people at a distance that's non-lethal? So me and a few friends got together. We called someone we knew who was an inventor.
That's where he came up with the wrapping device, the BOA wrap. 600 feet per second. It's a piece of Kevlar about 8 to 8.5 feet long. And it wraps every single time. We're just now going into the field. We're catching national attention right now. It's huge and it's international and it's very political right now. People want another tool. The police want another tool on their tool belt.
But it seems like the other market you're really hitting is cities don't want to lose money on lawsuits, and they're happening.
And now pretty much every major police department in the country is testing it out. And the company is public and it's doing well and hopefully it'll do better, but it's solving a real problem. So the question we have is, what if you could make a non-lethal weapon that can contain somebody and you wouldn't have to harm them? I kind of came to this realization pretty early on in my investing career, and I decided I'm never going to make an investment without somebody who I think is smarter and more experienced than me also in the investment alongside of me, meaning at the same terms or worse than me. So for instance, if Warren Buffett buys IBM at 100, making up numbers, and now IBM drops to 80, if I ran into Warren Buffett at a party, I'm not going to say, Warren, what were you doing? IBM at 100. Even I could have told you that was a stupid idea. No, Warren Buffett's the greatest investor in history. So if he buys IBM at 100 and IBM's at 80, no questions asked, I'll buy IBM at 80. I have to understand how the other people involved in a situation, not just an investment deal, but any situation, how the other people in the room are smarter than me.
I had to change from podcaster to comedian before I came up here. And I feel healthier when I wear Lululemon. This is Lululemon.
If I'm trying to learn stand-up comedy, I don't go up on the stage and assume I'm the funniest person around. I look to who the smartest people around are, and I really pay attention to their advice.
I had a great podcast, maybe some of you listened to it, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he was best friends with Will Chamberlain, another 7-foot tall, great basketball player. And he said he and Will Chamberlain were in an elevator, and he pointed at me and he said, someone who looks just like you came into the elevator and looked up at us and said, hey, how's the weather up there? And Will Chamberlain spit on the guy. And then Will Chamberlain said, it's raining.
The average person, I don't know how they study this, but the research shows the average person thinks something like 65,000 thoughts a day. How many of those thoughts are actually useful? First off, some subset of those thoughts are, what's Kim Kardashian up to today? Or what, Kanye West, what's he up to today? So some percentage of our thoughts are clearly useless, and yet we watch them, we listen to them. And some percentage of our thoughts are stresses, like, oh, am I gonna get this done in time? I'm so disappointed this person didn't adhere to my schedule and only wanted to adhere to their schedule. But then I'm in the city and there's this meeting and someone cut me off and someone said something I didn't like and I got an email but I don't have time to respond to it. And I got another email and they're saying something I don't want to have happen but I don't know how to do anything about it. Stress. So our mind fills up with all these thoughts that are useless and just causing us to be unhappy. Well, okay, that's one day gone from your life and you spent it mostly thinking useless or horrible thoughts or thoughts that put you down or whatever. Think about the reverse. I don't know, picture a beautiful location you've been in, maybe on the beach with your wife or spouse, and you're watching the sun go down and the ocean has this calming effect. Are you thinking lots of thoughts then? No, you're probably happier and thinking less thoughts. So there's this direct, relationship between being happier in those moments and not thinking as much. And so on an average day, it's important to stop yourself almost in this meditative way and say, all right, just take a step back. And you can't stop thinking thoughts, they're part of the biology of the brain, but maybe I can just take a couple of deep breaths, like 6 to 10 deep breaths. That tends to calm the mind a little bit. Take those deep breaths and think a little bit less. And of course, having well-being is a good catapult to being successful in other parts of your life. Actually, what do you even need success for? Success, which has no real definition, when you're feeling well-being and contentment. That's success. Always assuming you know nothing, that there's many opportunities to be curious and to learn more, that leaves room for improvement. When you leave room for improvement, you actually improve. Because you're aware, oh, I need to learn this, I need to learn this, I'm going to be curious about this. Having a philosophy of what if instead of I know will actually make you a more successful investor, a successful businessman, a successful writer, a successful entertainer, a successful game player. Success in any area of life. It will make you a happier person. Much better to ask what if and have the pleasure of learning something new than to think you know everything and have to argue all the time about it.